How's it everyone, this is Lolcohol, and in today's video I'm going to be giving an update on the Ice Trap Occultist League starter, giving you a few tips if you're still playing this build, and giving you an update on my progress. So at this point, I've pretty much done everything that this build was set out to do as a League starter. I've completed almost all of my atlases, just 2 unique maps that I need to finish. I've done almost all the favored maps, still need to do the Cortex. I have all my watchstones. So I've done Maven, Uber Elder, Exarch, and Eater. Those are all pretty comfortable fights. I did the Maven on a 5 link. It did take a while. I did die once, but we got it done. Uber Elder was deathless. These other 2 were also very comfortable. So you should be doing alright on the build. However, there are some things that I will address and go over some of the changes. So first things first, Explode version versus the default, or I guess balanced version, the POE. I would highly recommend just going with the balanced version. I did test the Explode version for a full day. It was very fun. It was very exciting. You get lots of explodes. However, the problem is that it just felt like a very, I guess, herky-jerky playstyle, because you would have to curse a pack of enemies, then you throw your traps, or you throw your traps, then curse, wait for it to explode, then it will cause a chain. So it would lead to this kind of playstyle where you're going curse, trap, 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 or trap, curse, like this. Whereas on this version, which is using Badge of the Brotherhood and Architect's Hand, feels much smoother to play. You don't have to constantly stop. So I would recommend this version over it. With regards to Tinkerskin, ignore this. This is super lucky. I did Maven on a 5 link without this +2. This was just a very lucky hit. If you only have a 5 link Tinker, which is what I did, and I could not 6 link this thing for the life of me, rather use a 6 link chest like this instead. I would rather take this over Tinkerskin, and we will go in how to sustain. So the main reason we were using Tinker was for the recover 100 life when your trap is triggered by an enemy, and one of the problems I said initially in the opening video for the League starter was that this build struggled with recovery, but I have fixed that, so you don't actually need Tinkerskin. One thing that you will need if you do go for the 6 link route is this belt enchant. Regenerate 150 energy shield when a rare or unique enemy is nearby. Without this, you might feel like your ES pool is constantly running out. So 6 link, if you go this, make sure to use this. Tinkerskin is still super nice for recovering energy shield, but let's get into some of the recovery. So if you haven't seen my other video that I released last, Life Recoup, this is really, really strong, and this is a great way to recover life. So if you don't understand this mechanic, you can go watch that full video. It's about 6 minutes long, but the way this works is damage that you take is then regenerated over 3 seconds with this mastery. We can get 60% on the tree. I did actually initially take all 60%. I did test with 1 fewer of these wheels. It still feels alright, so long as you're getting some recoup on rings. You can get this as a suffix on rings. You can also get it as a suffix on jewels. So recoup, if you're going to go for the 6 link and you're not using Tinkerskin, make sure to pick up some of these life recoup wheels. This is very, very nice for life recovery. As for auras, I've decided the best is going to be Determination, Defiance Banner, Vitality, and Grace. That's primarily because this league is it just feels so rippy. The league mechanic is just deadly, so I'm trying to get the defenses up as much as possible. I did the Formed, which is doing all 4 of the Shaper Guardians simultaneously. I did that almost deathless. I ran into a slam. That was fine. That was comfortable. Uber Elder, fine. Maven, all of those fights were fine, but the moment you do that Crucible mechanic and you overcharge it, you're just dead. Something will one-shot you, but for that reason, I've decided to try and at least get some of this. So Vitality is going to give you more life regen, and then Grace, Determination, Defiance Banner, that is going to scale your armor and evasion, with Flasks up, sitting at about 12,000 armor, 21,000 evasion, which is pretty nice. However, I have dropped Skitterbots, which is a fairly significant damage loss. But let's go look how would we squeeze in Skitterbots. So looking at the POB, if we have the Skitterbots, you can see we have minus 23% unreserved mana. I actually decided to drop this. I don't feel like we need this reservation mastery, and as you can see, that's not going to be enough. That's going to put us down to 11%, which is actually pretty good. So we could go 11% there and then drop in, let's maybe do like this, put our vitality here, and then we can put our Skitterbots up here with this. Skitterbots and enlighten level 3. You can still see this is sitting us at -3%, even with this mastery. Maybe if you get level 4, it'll be just enough, but enlighten level 4 is a bit expensive. So that is one way you can do it. You can get your enlighten level 4 and pick up this mastery. However, another way, which is a bit more point intensive, is to, let's remove that, you can get a reservation mastery small cluster. So we can go check that out. Cluster jewel. You can go for a small, and then we go reservation. You want to have a 3 passive one, not a 2 passive reservation one. And then down here, if you can get a modifier like uncompromising, that'll be great. This will give us reduced reservation efficiency of, well, increased reservation efficiency of determination. So we slap that on our build, pop it in here, and you can see that gives us -4, and then if you put in an enlighten level 3, we have more than enough mana. So we can just get enlighten level 3. Alternatively, if you can't get that enlighten, then you would also have to put in this. So I don't know which route you want to go. Skitterbots feels a bit overkill. I feel like the build has enough damage for what it wants to do as a league starter. So I would just recommend do what I do, which is Grace Determination, Defiance Banner, Vitality. You do lose a fairly significant amount of damage without Skitterbots, but it should be enough with the other gear. Badge of the Brotherhood is about 50C at the moment. These gloves have shot up in price. They're suddenly over 100 chaos. So bit expensive, but try get your hands on a pair of these as soon as possible. In terms of other defensive layers, I still recommend the Ghastly Theater. Absolutely excellent shield. Alternatively, you can get something like this, which is life, +1 level of all cold spell skill gems and spell crit. This is a nice option. I'm currently using this. This is life, ES, and regenerate life per second. This goes nicely with the Recoup and the vitality, and this has a nice tree. And speaking of trees, I don't really know what the best tree is. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering. I just happen to get this, which has lightning damage to spells, which is great. Flat damage to spells is nice, and then base spell crits also going to be excellent. And then strength and intelligence just happen to be on this. Strength is nice. This build does struggle with it. And then I also got this 10% chance to scorch enemies. This is another form of, I guess, elemental penetration based on fire damage. And we are doing fire damage with our heat shivers. So if you can get a source of scorch, that's actually pretty good. As for the shield, again, I'm not 100% sure what is best. However, this one has a bit of armor, chance to block, more chance to block, but cannot block spell damage, which is fine because we have spell suppression. This is also a very nice node. Reduce effect of elusive, but gain elusive on reaching low life. If you want to see what elusive does, you can see over there, just pause and read it. This goes very nicely with our badge of the Brotherhood. So we have increased effective elusive on you per power charge. I have 7 power charges. That's 54% increased effective elusive. So even though we are losing 20%, we have increased effective elusive. So this is another really nice node. Over here, there's just some more block stuff. And then there is this node. This UI is terrible. You can't read it. Enemies branded by Wintertide brand or Arcanist brand explode on death, dealing a quarter of their maximum life is chaos damage. A lot of people think this is really good. On this build, it feels like a bit of a meme. It doesn't really help clear all that much, but I had to try it and see if it worked. And it does. We are using Arcanist brand on our curse setup, so you will get some explodes, but don't go out of your way to get this. It's really not that good. If anyone else in the comments has found really, really nice nodes for their weapon and shield, do let me know. I will add it to a pinned comment. So another layer of defense, I guess I've kind of skipped over is Enfeeble. So for mapping, just general mapping, I don't feel like you need Frostbite and Elemental Weakness. I'd rather just take one of these, probably just Frostbite, or maybe rather Elemental Weakness because we're getting fire damage from Heat Shiver. So Elemental Weakness and Enfeeble. What Enfeeble does is cursed enemies deal 29% less damage. So this is nice for mapping, increases your effective health pool. So if you are feeling like you're dying, you can try all these layers of defense. So Recoup, regeneration from a shield, from vitality, change your auras so you're using Determination, Grace, Defiance, Mana, Vitality, and then try Enfeeble instead of a second damage curse for mapping. If you do bossing, you can use 2 damage curses because bosses, pinnacle bosses, are way less deadly than Crucible white mobs for some reason. And then of course you can use a Ghastly Theater just to increase the physical mitigation from hits. And going over flasks, with Recoup, I found that I could just run 1 life flask for mapping. For bossing, I do pop in a second life flask. It does help, but for mapping, I've got an instant recovery, a Jade flask, Granite flask, Quicksilver, and Diamond. This Diamond is really nice. You can get increased crit chance on this. So with this and all my charges up, I have something like an 84% crit chance with 500 and something crit multi. But I think that's going to be it for this video. I think that's also going to be it for this build. I'm not going to keep going with this. I played this in SSF last league. I tested the hell out of it. I now played it this league. I'm super sick of it. So what we're going to do next is going to be something a lot more fun. I'll put some footage of the testing we did last night. I did it with Guitarholic. He suggested some tech that looked really fun. If you have any other questions about this build, please do let me know in the comments. But hopefully all of these tips will help you get the build feeling a little bit better, a little bit smoother. And once you've implemented some of these things, let me know. Does the build feel even better? Are you enjoying it? Let me know how your progress has been this league. And that's going to be it. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Ranching exile, you're making me nervous.